So
oh, Sam Roukas. So this is actually a very experienced player. I didn't recognize his name, but I played against this guy, and even in Standard, he always plays control decks. This is just a dedicated control player from, I believe, the Baltimore area. I know he's friends with Jarvis Yu. I actually think Sam taught Jarvis Yu how to play Magic.
Well, good job.
Yeah.
Jarvis recently was able to reach his goal of hitting either silver or gold by traveling around to the Grand Prix.
Yeah. We have a little Facebook chat with a few other friends, and there were a lot of gold puns with Jarvis.
Yeah, so Dylan was able to flip his Delver here. Sam has countertop and a Jace on the battlefield, no cards in hand.
Yeah, and he doesn't have control of the board right now.
He does
so
not.
This Jace is vulnerable. Dylan's got to be a little worried about a potential Terminus in a situation like this. If Sam can flip a Terminus inside of combat, that would be quite unbelievable. That said, if Sam could have done that, I think he would have done it during Dylan's upkeep before Dylan drew a card for the turn.
Looks like Deathrite Shaman's going to go at Jace. Delver is going to go at Dylan. Dylan's going to fall to 8 using his Flooded Strand. It's going to give him a shuffle and a fresh look at Terminuses, which he's going to shuffle back into his deck there as he is looking through. They seem to be a little clumped. All right, he's going to find a Tundra. Going to go ahead and shuffle it up. Now, the Fate is going to be in Dylan's hand.
Yep.
He gets to shuffle his opponent's deck. All right, we're going to cut it. We're going to look at the top 3 with top. There's not a Terminus, but there is a Plow. And that Plow could save the Jace.
Yep. Saving the Jace would be a big deal. I would save the Jace if I could. And this is actually, I was saying how I was surprised that Sam didn't look for the Terminus during Dylan's upkeep, but this is a good reason not to, because he gives himself the opportunity to potentially protect his Jace with a single targeted removal spell.
All right. Well, Dylan's going to go ahead and play a Probe, get it countered by the counterbalance with the top on top, and then just delve a bunch to play a Gurmag Angler.
Yeah, and notably this Jace can bounce the Gurmag Angler, which is typically a great play against it, but the Jace being only at 1 loyalty means he would have to lose the Jace if that were the case. But it looks like he's going to do it.
Yeah, so he's going to look at the top 3 with his top. There's not much there. He's going to bounce the Gurmag Angler. Dylan's going to be able to crash in and take Sam down to 2. Now, it looks like he picked up a copy of Painful Truths, which could be a huge draw here. Plus 3 cards is great.
And one thing that I appreciate about Sam's plays, he is playing quite quickly. He knows that one of, being the experienced control player that he is, he knows that one of his biggest adversaries is the clock.
All right, so we're going to play Painful Truths for 3.
Really good card. Painful Truths is a card that I have not actually played in a tournament yet, but I have my 4 foil copies that I bought while they were cheap. I don't expect that card to go down in value.
4 foil copies?
Yeah. I'm not a big foil person.
You
but
fancy, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, they were really cheap, so.
Ooh, well, there is a Plow. Oh, that's going to take care of the Delver.
Looking to get rid of that right away.
Ooh, now, this is going to be real tough for Dylan to resolve anything.
Yeah. It's going to be... So
it's just going to be jamming 1-mana spells to fuel his graveyard for the Gurmag Angler.
Well, another thing he can do is he knows that the top is on top of the library. So in response, he can try to bolt it. And that was a good window to try to counter it. But Wear and Tear
can be a 1 or a 2.
Is a very good card for counterbalance. I would expect Dylan to have maybe between 1 and 3 lightning bolts in his deck post-board, depending on how strongly he feels that Sam has access to Monastery Mentor. But there's a good chance that Dylan just does not have much.
So smartly Dylan is going to snag that. He's going to Spell Pierce his own bolt with the counterbalance trigger so that he has an extra card in his graveyard to untap and play a Gurmag Angler. But this Entreat the Angels is going to...
Dylan's certainly doing what he needs to do, but Here's Entreat the Angels, one of the real powerhouse plays that the Miracles deck can work with.
So he gets 3 Angels.
Yeah. And this is more than enough to trade with the Gurmag Angler.
This Miracles deck, every time I watch it, it's always just like on the brink of death, but holding on, living by the top 3 cards of their deck.
Well, that's the classic play
the
pattern with a control deck, is you're losing in the early game, they knock you to a low life total, and then you claw back into it, stabilize, and then win. And now Sam just needs to find an answer for this Gurmag Angler, and he's got Dylan on a 2-turn clock, and Dylan needs a lot to work through all of these Entreat tokens.
Yeah, with Sam floating that Wear Tear, it's going to counter a large number of cards that's in Dylan's deck.
And one of the best reasons to play the Miracles deck is because it beats up on especially these more mid-rangey Delver decks. They're not quite fast enough to get completely underneath the Miracles defense. They're fast enough to get a lot of damage, but usually not all 20. And we're seeing that now. Sam is going to be able to attack for lethal on this upcoming turn if he chooses. And Dylan is basically forced to do this play, otherwise Sam would have that lethal attack.
Yeah. All right, so Sam is just controlling the entire pace of the game here at this point.
Yep.
Got another counterbalance for Sam, which is not much Dylan can do.
And Dylan shakes the hand. Sam Roukas takes it down. The player that you may not be extremely familiar with, but he's a very experienced control player that everyone should take note of. You know, I believe he also has like some top eights to his name. I don't have his past history memorized, but I'm pretty sure he's got a decent resume.
Yeah, so Sam Roukas is going to take this match 2-0 over Dylan Donegan on Miracles, going to beat Grixis Delver. That game looked like he was real far behind, but with the way this Miracles deck